You knew this video was coming. Following the first video, I'd like to clarify that the hitboxes don't change, only the models representing them, and I'm rating each based on how accurately they do so. Also, for each character model there are different variants. I didn't touch upon this in the previous video, and perhaps should have, but I'm happy to say that it doesn't affect the terrorist models as much as it does the CTs, though there is a Balkan model with a bigger padded helmet than the one that I analysed, so just be aware of that. Anyway, let's go. We'll start with the FBI model, which you won't see a lot since they're only in hostage maps. There's quite a bit of variation between these. One sports a cap that may poke further out to the front, but I chose this guy, with the goggles above his head, to be the one for this video. I'd say it's quite good for the most part, though you can see that his vest sticks too far out and that the helmet is much larger than the hitbox it's representing. This is a recurring theme with the CT models. There are large parts of the helmets, and often is, that won't register as a hit when shot. Now on to the
GIGN, Groupe d'Intervention de la Gendarmerie Nationale,
which comes with the visor up or down. A bit like with the cap, when the visor's up it creates a large target that won't register as a headshot. But even with it down, half of its head still isn't within the hitbox. Remember, this hitbox is the correct size for some of the models, which just shows how oversized the helmet is in this case. Aside from that, his calves stick out behind and his vest puffs out in all directions. It's a shame since the overall shape of this model is actually pretty good, from a hitbox perspective. The GSG-9's head is just as bad, if not worse. His helmet would have been too large already, but on top of that he also has built-in earmuffs and a visor that isn't afraid to do its own thing. There are only so many ways that I can say that these head models are bad. They don't represent the hitbox at all. His collar also sticks out too far. Also, if you look at his shoulders from the front, then you'll see that the hitboxes still don't represent his standing stance. This applies to most of the models in the game, where they have a bit on the left shoulder above where their body ends that will still count as an upper body hit. But apart from these things, the rest of his body matches pretty nicely to the hitboxes. The IDF are probably the ones you've been waiting for in this video because of how stupid their hat is. It's not even trying to be head-shaped. The hat must go. And the backpack. Had enough to say about these the last time. They give away the CT's position, but also don't count as a shot. This manages to infuriate everybody in the game at once. Hell, why not have utility pouches and gun holsters sticking out as well? The whole thing's a disaster. Valve, update this model along with Dust 2 and I'll be happy. The SAS models are the newest in the game, and I think it shows since the general model follows the hitbox in some previously unseen ways for the CT side. Their shoulders match up more closely with the hitbox model, and their head is quite a bit smaller than the helmeted guys. The gas mask filter still sticks out if viewed from the side though. As well as this, the collar violates the border, and their legs and bodies have bits that stick out both too far and too far in. And their Wi-Fi signal box pokes out too far. But we all know how important internet is these days. The SEAL team sports numerous variations on the skin, but the stupidest has to be this one, with the night vision goggles perched on top of his head, making this the tallest model in the game. Admittedly, I didn't find any properly game-breaking spots for this. Crates seem to be strategically designed to show everything or nothing at all, though you will occasionally see this model going up ladders sooner than others. But I still don't like it, poking out and giving headshots false hope. This model's body also sticks out unusually far, and comes with all of the stupid pouches and radios that we're used to with the CT models by now. And lastly, the SWAT team, which is the most boring of all because all of the models look almost identical and they all suffer from a bit of every problem covered in this video so far. On the plus side, however, you probably won't see these since the only diffuse map they're in is Vertigo. So, whilst the problems with the terrorist models can be dismissed as nitpicking, I genuinely think that changes need to be made to the CT models, both to reduce the size of their heads and the thickness of their bodies. With the remake of Inferno, we also saw an updated SAS model, so I hope that when Dust 2 is re-released, that we also get to see a new and better CT model, as I do feel that these are among the worst offenders.